5 years later, Ajekpo had met the love of his life, Iram, the only daughter of the late palm wine tapper of the village, and they got married soon after. They had a lot in common, besides the fact that Iram was also an orphan and liked each other very much. This newfound relationship was what brought back the smiles Ajekpo's late father had occasionally put on his face. It was only 8 months into their marriage when Iram was found with child. And when the time came for her to deliver, she bare triplets, but couldn't make it through her labor. This bittersweet news left Papa Ajekpo dumbfounded. He quarreled a lot against the gods and his ancestors on why they would always take anyone he loved away from him. First, it was his mother at the age of 6, which made him suffer at the hands of Auntie Enyo. Then they suddenly took his father, who used to make his world a little bit better. Even his most anticipated future as the next chief of Akara, and now his beloved Iram, after he had finally found true happiness? None of you care for my wretched life, do you? Humans and gods alike. Clearly you don't. Ajekpo muttered in tears. From that day forward, Papa Ajekpo had lost faith in the gods, and the only thing that gave him meaning in life were his 3 daughters. Mama Blewu helped Papa Ajay raise his 3 beautiful daughters with utmost decency and good manners. 13 years had passed, and Auntie Enyo had grown old, but no grandchildren had been born to her. It was as if the gods themselves were repaying her for the generous treatment she had given Ajekpo while he stayed with them in the palace. I mean, she was even lucky she was still alive. Jijo, chief of Akara, had married 3 wives, all princesses from neighboring villages, but none of them was able to bear him a child in all those years. Despite her utmost beauty, a quality she had inherited from her mother, Princess Salom also had long been divorced by her husband, Chief Omanu of Kakari village, due to her insolence as a wife. Since then, no chief had ever asked her hand in marriage again. What was left of that family had only become a laughingstock for the villagers, and Papa Ajay in particular. Until one day, an infectious ball swept through the village, taking the lives of both young and old, the poor and the well-faring alike. It wasn't long when Princess Solom caught the disease. Balls started appearing all over her skin, and for fear of the spread of the disease, they had her isolated in a hut by herself, regularly attended to by the village healer. But after a fortnight of disease, she passed away. Auntie Enyo, I've healed many people of their balls in the past, and balls are not known to cause the death of so many people. Believe me, I did everything I could for Salom, but it's as if the gods have sent this illness as a curse. The village healer told her. Auntie Enyo, who couldn't believe her eyes upon seeing the lifeless body of a beloved daughter struck with numerous balls all over, stood there stiff with tears rushing down her eyes. Therefore, she heard little of what was being said. 2 full moons had gone by. Salom had been grievously mourned and buried, along with some elders and many other villagers. But the disease still continued to haunt the people. The overpopulous village of Akara, about 300 in head counts by men, had now been drastically reduced. It had swept almost a third of them. Priestess Olabisi had been sought after severally by Chief Jijo, but her demeanor had not changed since the day he was made king. "The gods shall be appeased," she had said. "You brought this upon yourself and your people, Chief Jijo. But unlike men, the gods do not forget." Those were the thoughts flying through his mind as he lay down one night, restless. Due to her reluctance in helping the current affairs of the people, the chief had gone to see another priest in one neighboring village who had emphasized that only the sacrifice of 3 virgin maidens of royal blood could possibly avert such a blight. "Even though the gods may not exactly be appeased," he had added. "This priest must be out of his mind," he thought to himself, still fidgeting on the bed. "Where do I find 3 virgin maidens of pure royal bloodline? A question for the gods. I don't have a single child, not to talk of 3 daughters or the guts to sacrifice them even if I did. No, not to mention that my grandfather abolished human sacrifices in this kingdom." He quarreled, looking up at the ceiling and pondering over how his wives had disappointed him over the years. "All they know is to eat and sleep and jostle each other, especially G," trying to refer to his third and last wife, Jibodi, who was lying in deep sleep right beside him. Just then, a sudden gut wrench went through his insides. He quickly sat halfway across his bed, his eyes popping out in bewilderment. "But wait, Ajekpo's children aren't exactly pure blood, are they?" he thought to himself. The next morning, he gathered the few elders who had been spared by the plague to seek the face of the priest once more. Upon realizing that Ajekpo's children still qualified, he started devising with his elders on how to kidnap them for the sacrifice. "Our people are dying, my elders, and there's no other choice but to sacrifice a few for the greater good," he told them. Since the elders themselves had their families in deep affliction from the impact of the blight, it didn't require much work in convincing them. But for fear of the fact that Ajekpo might retaliate this time, for they had cruelly taken his throne from him in time past, they warned Chief Jijo. Ho, don't worry, Ajay is my brother, I can handle him now," he asserted. With Ajekpo's issue out of the way, or so they wickedly thought, they planned to abduct Mama Bleu's pride in one night. The girls, who had just turned 13, were the only ones the gods had not yet taken from Papa Ajekpo, besides his distant cousin. Moreover, they were the only boundary between the calm Papa Ajay and the tyrant. Kindly like this video to promote it if you loved the story. Please subscribe to our channel if you want more of this content in the future. Also share the video with friends and comment next in the comment section.